Hey, what is going on guys? My name is Gamertag and I'm back for your daily Fortnite video. In today's video, we're actually going to be taking a look over Scope's controller Fortnite settings. Obviously, Scope is regarded as one of the greatest controller players in Fortnite as of right now, and he's gained a ton of notoriety and popularity within the past couple of weeks. In fact, he's been playing with Tfue, who is of course one of the most popular Fortnite players. Considering Scope's skill level, a lot of people are wondering what settings he uses, from sensitivity settings to keybinds, as well as some general miscellaneous settings as well. Everybody would like to try them out and of course see if they can replicate his game performance to the best of their ability. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys, again, his sensitivity settings, keybinds, and miscellaneous settings. So not only am I going to share with you guys these settings on screen and show them to you, but I'm also going to try my best to give you a very brief description behind why he uses certain settings and why he doesn't use other settings. This way you guys can again see the settings, but also have an understanding of the logic and reasoning behind them. Now this might come as a surprise, but Scope actually has some pretty basic sensitivity settings. So we're going to simply be making our way from the top to the bottom in the controller options tab. His build mode sensitivity multiplier is set to a 2.3, and his edit mode sensitivity multiplier is set to a 2.4. Obviously this goes without saying that this is how he's able to build and edit extremely fast and in a very timely manner, based off of both of these settings alone. His advanced look sensitivity settings are as follows. His look horizontal speed as well as the look vertical speed are both set to a 43%. He has no turning horizontal or turning vertical boost on, so you do not have to worry about that for the remainder of the video. Next is going to be his aim down sight sensitivity, otherwise known as ADS sensitivity. His ADS look horizontal as well as ADS look vertical speed are both matched at an 11%, and once again there's no turning vertical or horizontal boost. And then nearing the bottom we have the advanced sensitivity settings. His look dampening time is actually set all the way to a 0.00 seconds, and his look input curve is on linear. Now a lot of people probably will have a hard time using these settings for the simple fact that he is playing on linear and has a 0.00 seconds look dampening time. So basically what that means is these are extremely fast and very reactive. So to be completely straightforward with you guys, if you were to move your analog stick even the slightest amount, obviously in game it would turn extremely fast. So if you're planning on using these settings, definitely give yourself a grace period of about a day or two to get used to these extremely fast sensitivity settings. Obviously his aim assist strength is going to be at 100%, and then at the very bottom we have our controller dead zone settings. His move stick and look stick dead zone are both set to a 10%, and these dead zone settings are honestly emphasizing even more of the very quick sensitivity settings. So those are all of his sensitivity settings as of today, and we're now actually going to move over into the keybind settings. Obviously these are also some of the most important settings of the video, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering what keybinds he uses. So Scope actually plays on a custom builder pro, which is obviously strongly recommended, and he also uses a PlayStation 4 controller. So if you do use an Xbox One controller, you kind of have to make the translations over and of course find the buttons that will substitute these. So once again, he's on a custom builder pro, and basically his keybind changes are as follows. For jumping, he's actually changed this from X over to left on the D-pad, as well as his edit button is actually bounded to L3, which is basically the left analog stick clicked in. And for his editing controls, basically R2 or right trigger is used to select tiles as always, and then R1, which is right bumper, is actually used to reset the edit. And then lastly for his keybinds, he has circle, which is B for Xbox One controllers, set to confirm. So once again, to swiftly go over that, his jump is actually set to left on the D-pad, his edit is set to L3, which is the left analog stick clicked in, his reset for his edit is R1, and confirm is set to circle. So these are actually very unique settings, to be honest, despite the fact there's only a couple of changes. Again, these are very unique in of themselves and likely will take a lot of time to get used to. And to be completely honest, if you're not using the claw grip, especially on PlayStation 4 controller, it's unlikely that you'll actually be able to use these settings the exact way he has them set up. And we will now jump really quickly into the miscellaneous settings, and that will wrap up the video. See, these are going to be things like his colorblind mode, edit confirm on release, and so on and so forth. So making our way from top to bottom, his colorblind mode is actually set to Tritanope, and he has a colorblind strength of 6. Now a lot of people always wonder why him, as well as players like faze use the Tritanope colorblind mode. Well, there's actually a couple of reasons. One is because it allows you to see in the storm just a little bit better, so obviously if you're in the end game and people are using floppers in the storm, you'll be able to spot them out a lot easier, as well as it makes things like llamas easier to spot, and in general just gives you a better visual. And his colorblind strength is actually set to 6, which obviously is somewhat important. Continuing downward, he has sprint by default turned on. Obviously with his keybinds, he doesn't have a button binded to sprint, which is usually left analog stick clicked in, but now that of course is set to edit. So you do need to have sprint by default on, especially when using these keybinds in particular. He also has auto open doors on, and this is very crucial, especially for a player like him who makes a lot of edits throughout the game. Basically the reason being is because when you go to make an edit, a lot of times you accidentally will edit a door rather than say a 3-corner edit. So basically with auto open doors on, it's a bit of leniency in that regards. You will not be slowed down whatsoever. You won't have to manually open the door if you were to accidentally make that edit. Basically you would just simply run right through it, and basically again it just kind of gives you a bit of fairness in regards to those errors. This next setting is actually extremely surprising to me, and this is confirm edit on release. He actually has this setting on, and a lot of pro players, especially controller players of course, leave this setting alone. They're not a big fan because they feel like it basically slows down your confirms when you're editing. So likely he doesn't use it that much to his advantage because of course he's obviously extremely fast in regards to editing. However, I'm sure he does use it from time to time, and that is likely why he has it on. So the people that are looking to replicate his settings, don't allow yourself to rely on confirm edit on release. It's unlikely that he does this. And he also has tap to search or interact on. Basically what this does is when you open a chest, ammo box, supply crate, or revive a teammate, rather than having to hold extra square to do all of his actions, you simply can tap it and not have to hold it for the remainder of the time. So basically that's why he uses that. Obviously this doesn't affect too much, it's just a bit ease of access. So those are all of the settings that he uses. Again, we went over sensitivity settings, keybinds, and also some general miscellaneous settings. As I mentioned, I didn't want to just show them on screen, but I also gave a brief description behind each setting. This way you guys can have a better understanding and the logic behind them. So hopefully once you guys use these settings and give yourself a couple of days to get used to them, you will actually be able to replicate his game style and game performance the best of your ability. Obviously if we can play at even like half the level he plays at, we'll likely be winning pretty much every single game that we get into. Now let me know your thoughts and opinions about these settings down below, especially after you've tried them out for yourself. Personally for me, I think they're very unique in of themselves, especially considering the fact that his sensitivity settings are astronomically high. Like they're extremely fast, and I definitely say if you're not an advanced player, then likely it's going to take a lot of time to get used to these settings, but he is living proof that they do work regardless. So if you try them out and you're not liking them at first or think they're impossible to use, again, just watch some of his videos and you definitely will see that they are possible as long as you practice and definitely give yourself a couple of days to get used to them at least. But regardless, those are all of the settings that he uses. So if you're looking to try to replicate his game style the best of your ability, this of course is your first stepping stone, and it's going to be very important in regards to making the switch and transition over to his game style and gameplay. Now if you guys enjoyed today's video or found it helpful, a like would be beyond appreciated. And of course, on the contrary, if you genuinely disliked today's video, then by all means feel free to leave a dislike as well. So for my active viewers that have been wondering where I've been for the past like 4 or 5 days, basically I've broken my hand in that time period. So that's kind of where I've been for that period of time. Again, I just broke my right hand. So of course playing video games and typing and making videos is very difficult and has slightly gotten easier as the days go by. But regardless, that's pretty much going to be it for today's video, guys. Again, if you enjoyed it, a like would be appreciated. And of course, if you'd like to see more daily Fortnite content like this in the future, feel free to subscribe as well as turning on those post notifications. And lastly, Scope's channel will actually be linked in the description below. Definitely check him out, you guys will not be disappointed. Anyways, my name is Keybinds. Thank you all for watching today's video, and I'll see you tomorrow. Adios.